Hey everybody, welcome to Gameplanet. My name's Andrew Todd, and this is Grow Up. Not just good advice, but also the new game from Ubisoft, the sequel to Grow Home, which came out last year. It was a little experimental title based around procedural animation. It was a really lovely game, and now there's kind of, by surprise, a sequel to that game. So, let's take a look. As established in the first game, you play as this little robot called Bud. Now, he's got a spaceship called Mom. It's really only the beginning of the Oedipal complex that this game has. At the very start of the game, you crash. The ship crashes into a moon, and Bud gets sent down onto the surface of the planet below, along with a whole bunch of parts of the ship. So, your goal is to traverse this planet, find the various parts of the ship, get them hoisted up to the moon, and then get to the moon yourself. Now, the world that Bud's crash landed on is much bigger than some little island that you were on in the first game. It's very pretty. It's got a lot of different sort of biomes in it. There's deserts, there's bioluminescent shit, there's like forests, there's waterfalls, all kinds of stuff. Impossible landscapes, hanging islands in the air. It's very pretty, with a very, very minimalist art style that I really dig. Because the world's so much bigger, you now have an in-game map, which functions through a secondary robot who operates kind of as a drone. You can set waypoints, you can check out what's around you, where you are in relation to other things. The other thing that the world map really brings to light is the fact that this now brings the Grow X series into the pantheon of Ubisoft games with maps strewn with icons. There's tons of icons in the game, not quite as many as there would be in like an Assassin's Creed, but there's still a lot of icons, respawn points, challenges, collectibles, and obviously the main quest items, which are the parts of the ship that you need to collect. You get around the world through a variety of ways, the most obvious of which is walking, and because this game is completely procedurally animated, it means that there's no canned animation in this game. You're walking around, and your feet just basically do what they're going to do based on the environment that you're walking through and where you're telling your character to go. So that means you have this kind of like drunken, lurching stumble that you get around with. There's also procedural climbing, which is unusual for games. Most games that feature climbing, they have like preset points where the developers have gone, you can grab hold of this part of the geometry. Here you can climb on anything. Your hands will just stick to surfaces if you hold down your bumpers on the controller, and you can climb anywhere, which means that you pretty much have free reign of where you want to go in this world. You can't go in water. That's about the only limit that you have. You also have a range of abilities that you can use. You get a jetpack very early on. Some of the wilder abilities include the ability to roll yourself up into a ball and fire yourself around the place. You get sort of a parachute air brake type ability. Later on in the game, you get the ability to use like a glider, which is very good for covering great distances. And you unlock these as you go through the game. But the big thing that sets this game apart is its use of plants as a means of locomotion. You find a lot of different types of flora around the world, most of which will give you like a boost if you jump from them, or they'll fire you into the air. In the sequel, you can actually get seeds from those plants, and you can plant any type of plant that you want pretty much anywhere, which really opens up traversal in a number of different ways. But honestly, it's not really that necessary. You tend to find that the plants that already exist in the world are more than enough to get you around from point A to point B. It's really not necessary to plant anything yourself. The other kind of plant that you find is the star plant, which is essentially a big plant penis that grows out of the ground, and you climb up these things, and you grab onto like the head of the penis, and then you grow it bigger and bigger and bigger, and longer and longer and longer, plunging into these little islands that are floating in the air, and then it kind of like pulsates and sucks this like glowing green cum out of the islands, and that helps the main plant penis grow even bigger and bigger, until you eventually get to where you want to go, I guess. As you play through Grow Up, you'll find that you unlock a whole bunch of abilities. I've talked about some of them already, but you also collect these little crystals, which upgrade existing abilities that you have. You can also unlock a whole range of different suits for Bud, which was not a feature in the first game, if I remember correctly. Most of the suits are cosmetic in nature. They just kind of give you a different look. But some of them actually change the physics of the game, sometimes in game-breaking ways. There's a genie suit, which lets you really, really carefully control the air brakes feature. There's the cat suit, which you can basically land any fall. And most game-breakingly of all is the astronaut suit, which is kind of like a low-gravity power that you get. And that essentially enables you to climb to any height using just your jetpack, which kind of cuts out most of the actual game, because you can just fly to your waypoints wherever they are. But most of the unlocks really feel like you're getting better abilities. They're also really fun to use. Like, it's really, really fun to jetpack around and to kind of cycle between abilities in midair to get better distance or to maneuver yourself better. It's really cool. In summary, I'm really glad that a sequel was made to Grow Home, because it was this little experimental game that nobody really saw coming, and it ended up being one of the more interesting and unique games of 2015. So it's really cool to see that that Ubisoft has taken that and run with it a little bit for Grow Up. It's adorable as fuck, and you'll get different things out of it depending on what kind of gamer you are. It's a really nice little game. It's not too expensive. It's available now for new-gen consoles and PC. And I recommend it. I'm not going to give it a score because I think scores are for chumps. That's Grow Up, and now, having failed to grow up, I'm going to leap to my death. See you later, everybody. It's been real. This has been Gameplanet. I've been Andrew Todd. Have yourself a nice day.